All right, welcome back to the show. This week we've got my girl Chrystee, and like most people that come on this podcast, she's got a lot going on. She's hard to put into a box, but let's attempt it here. So Chrystee teaches yoga and vocal activation. She's a singer-songwriter, a hype coach, a true girl's girl, a space holder for magical retreats, and a devoted student of Ayurveda. She is a very gifted content creator. So on her Instagram, you'll find her bridging the worlds of Eastern philosophy and Western science, singing her big little heart out, and throwing that ass back as a reminder that you don't need to edit or hide yourself to feel true acceptance. But Chrystee wasn't always this way. Like many people, many women, she once conditioned herself to fit into a smaller, more traditional role of chasing the career, making the money, and then she found herself asking, now what? In this episode, she shares her journey of breaking free, leaving corporate life in the States, and fully stepping into her dharma in currently Guatemala. Who knows where else she'll end up? Some highlights from this episode. From rock bottom to radiant freedom, her journey of turning pain and suicidal thoughts into art and passion. How leaving corporate sales unlocked her true dharma and purpose. Embodied practices such as twerking, vocal activation, and body wisdom as tools for liberation. And you're listening to a conversation between two Eastern medicine, holistic medicine practitioners. So, of course, we dive into what it means to us to bridge health, spirituality, and indigenous traditions to create heaven on earth. This is a really fun conversation. As you'll soon hear from all the giggles, it really felt like I was just like catching up with an old girlfriend, even though it was my first time speaking with Chrystee. It definitely feels like we've known each other for many lifetimes. And what I love most about this conversation is I see so many people feeling the life, the essence, the chi sucked dry out of them from following the traditional path, the path that everyone else told them to do, just as what Chrystee did. And just as I did at certain points in my life. And here she is now as a successful entrepreneur, as a thriving human, as a thriving woman who's creating daily from this endless source of chi, of prana. And if she can do it, you can do it too. So if you enjoyed this episode and you want to connect with Chrystee, you can find all her information in the show notes. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode. You leave your review, your rating to help this podcast grow, to show your support and appreciation. Welcome to the School of Whispers podcast. This is your host, Stephanie. I'm a licensed acupuncture physician and herbalist with a background in psychology, health sciences, and exercise physiology. Within my own spiritual awakening, I found myself learning pivotal lessons when I got myself to be in silence. Within that silence, the whispers came through. This is my sacred space of vulnerable storytelling where my guests and I share about the magic that comes from a life of following these whispers. I'm grateful you made it here, and I hope this show inspires you to live a life of following your own whispers. Let's get into the show. Well, Chrystee, it's such an honor to have your beautiful voice on this show. I'm so excited to just learn about you, and I feel like this is like us getting coffee, or I don't really drink coffee, us getting tea together and just getting to know each other so for the first time. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor. I feel the same way. It's like, we're like, what, tell me all about you.
Yeah. So let's start. I always love to give everyone the floor to introduce themselves and if titles mean anything to you, if you want to share those, but really for me the big one is sharing what do you stand for?
Shoo. Yes. My name is Chrystee, and I stand for freedom, like freedom of the voice, freedom of movement, freedom to do what you choose, freedom to create reality. And I think it came from being so confined in a cage and being able to alchemize the feeling of that not feeling good and the freedom to choose what feels good in order to, yeah, create the reality. So it's freedom is what I stand for.
How did you get there? I mean, I the way that we've come to each other's through Troy Valencia, and as I've watched you in your space, you really do embody that freedom. It just leaks through the little screen that fits in our hands. I just when I see people like you living as you live and sharing as you share, the biggest curiosity I have is how did you get here?
Phew. Yeah, it really comes down to that cage. Like there was this cage, there was this societal norms, there was familial norms, all of these different norms that you're supposed to fit in this box of like what if you're supposed to fit in, and it never made sense for me. And that led to deep depression. Like like I was suicidal for like 10 years of my life. And because I just felt so confined. Like it was like, go to school, study this. And I was like, I don't, that doesn't, nothing, it never made sense for me. But everyone that surrounded me, it made sense for them. So I was like, something is wrong with me. And then that created this sense of separation and isolation, but also this lack of fulfillment and satiation and contentment because I'm not doing what my soul came here to do. And that was really confusing. And so that led into this like deep, dark night of the soul for like 10 years of my life with like, and then it was through college. Well, it was through high school actually. When I moved back from, I lived in Japan for 3 years. My family's military, so I moved every 3 years. So I lived in a country outside of the United States, and I came back to the United States, and it was like, what the fuck is this? Um, and just all these weird, like Japan, it felt so open and free. And then coming back to this, just like you have to dress a certain way. I was made fun of how, like these little things, like made fun of how you dress and whatnot. And so all of these things. So through high school and then college, because it was like college was like, you got to go study this and you have to do that. I'm just like, I don't want this is not. And then to go what? Work in a 9 to 5 job. And I was trying to understand like how is this making sense for everybody around me because it doesn't make sense for me, and that like lack of alignment with what makes sense. There's a song, it's like what it like do the voices that are telling you who you are even know who you are? And another like deep quote that has been so strong for me is like, don't take advice from people that you don't want to be like. So I was taking advice from people that like they work this 9 to 5, and that's cool if it works for you, but it was not in resonance for me. I was like, I can't be sitting at a desk. And so all of that just like came together, and then it led to like drinking and all of these things. And then finally, there's a point where I like was standing on the edge of this building and I was like, this is it. I'm done. This is fucking stupid. I hate being human. I didn't ask to be here. And then something greater than me instead of falling forward, I fell back. And that was like, okay, then let's figure it out because this isn't working. Something else has to. And that's how I got into meditation. And meditation was kind of like the gateway drug into more like mindfulness and then yoga and then Ayurveda and then everything that's and singing and dancing and feeling that freedom. Because for so long, it was like, no, you have to look this way. When I finally broke out of that, it was like, I can breathe. And this is what freedom is. And this is how life should be. And then now the passion to share this to be free while also being the permission slip for others to know that this freedom is accessible. Because for so long, I didn't even know that it existed. I mean, I didn't know it existed, you know? So yeah, I think by being so in a cage is what allowed to see the freedom.
Yeah, isn't it funny how sometimes our tools towards freedom are the prisons itself. And there's this other quote that it's like you you cannot be set free until you acknowledge the fact that you're
Oof.
actually in prison.
Phew. Oof. That'll do it. Phew.
Yeah. Oh God, I mean what you said about don't take advice from someone
From
you don't
people
want
you
to
don't.
be. Oh my God. I to this day am still doing that. And
Yeah, no, yeah.
hearing that, wow, that's like so simple yet so pivotal and kind of earth-shattering, I hope, for anyone else listening. Um,
one thing that I thought was kind of I thought about was, isn't it interesting how children were we started so pure and so bright, and then there's this indoctrination that and where a lot of us are deeply unconscious within it. And then we almost become those tools of picking somebody to stay in line, to be just like the society. It's such an interesting thing, like mechanism that the school system becomes in that way.
Yeah, boxes, 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 sit at a desk for hours. Like you're being programmed your whole life to on how to sit at a desk for hours, and that nothing, it's not supposed to look like anything else. And if you do, it's impossible and you're crazy. It's like, what?
Yeah, like you're difficult, you're crazy and you're difficult.
And it's like when you look back on, when you were from 7 to 10, what were you doing? What were your passions when you still had that innocence and pureness? And before you were devoid of these, or before you were indoctrinated with these beliefs, like what were you doing from 7 to 10 years old? Because when I was 7 to 10 years old, I was frolicking in the forest. I love to sing. I love to dance. Um, yeah, and talk to like fairies and, and like go in the forest and stuff. And like now that's what I do in my life. So it's like it was always there. It's just like, and then so we forget, but then we allow ourselves to remember too. And that's like you're saying, like, actually, my class today was about, and that was this class today was about dharma. And it was just like the purpose of a purpose. And she was talking about this woman who lived to be 104. She's like, well, what's the secret? She's like, have a 10-year plan. Because when you have a purpose, you have a will to live. You have hope. You have hope. You have a will to live. And it's just like, shoo, that, that, that purpose is like there's a whole quarter basically on dharma and purpose, and that's written in the Vedas from 7,000 years ago. So just it's really deep.
There's two things that come up hearing you say that. The first is I still every once in a while, but I used to teach exercise classes. I used to teach bar, which is really tough. And it was always the mothers who would go to that extra edge because we'd have to teach for the strongest person in the room. And it was kind of like the maidens who would give up soonest. And I would just think about that a lot. And I realize I think it's
Um,
because they've had to fight that for life and giving birth, but also for their own child's life every day. There's a purpose, there's a give, and it bleeds its way into all other aspects of life.
Oof. Yeah, it's that creation, right? That the foundation of that is the creation. Like you like have that you built
Shakti.
this, yeah, yeah. And it's like the creation, whether it's like a child that you created or a vision that you birthed into reality, like what that creation and the purpose of that. It's like, that's so beautiful. Whoa, I got goosebumps.
But then the other thing was in Chinese medicine, every organ system has an emotion, or I'm sorry, well, it does have an emotion, but I was it was a spirit, and the kidneys are all about our pure sources of vitality, and their spirit is called chur, which is willpower. So
Phew.
it just further it's so pervasive this wisdom, especially in um Eastern I would say medicine, but Eastern philosophy, I guess.
Yeah. Mhm.
And that actually, I would love to go into that segue into it. So I noticed that you are really inspired to live by a lot of methods of ancient wisdom. And I get a little bit of a Gnostic vibe from you as well. And as well as this Vedic, beautiful, like I love your connection with Hinduism. So I would love for you to share a little bit about how you got into that and what are the bits and pieces that you really live by day to day that really shine for you?
Mm. Oh, yeah. So it was in college. I was like, when I tried to take my life was 2015. So it was like 10 years ago now. Well, 10-year anniversary.
Wait, Christy,
Celebrate.
how old are you?
I'm 28.
Okay, okay, okay. 'Cause you look like you could either be 21 or 31 or like ageless.
Yes, 28. But yeah, so 2015 that happened, and I looked into meditation, and then that's how I came across Hinduism and all of these like mythological stories. And I was getting into like some mythology. We were talking like right before about how like the fantasy bypasses the analytical thinking mind and allows you to like exceed the limitations of the mind. And then it was just getting so clear on the mind. And so all of that, and I got into like the self-help books like Don Miguel Ruiz, the Four Agreements, like that. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. Honor that your best looks different every single day. And the fourth one, don't do anything but always do your best.
Speak with integrity. Do we say that one?
Be impeccable with your word. Yes,
Impeccable.
exactly. And so that, like, I feel like meditation started it of just kind of like, okay, let's figure out these things. And then, your vibe attracts your tribe. So then it was kind of like starting to attract people that like introduced me to the book, The Four Agreements, and then what introduced me to Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. So I feel like these two books were, well, first, the meditation, well, first, the awareness of wanting to change was the foundation of it. And then taking the line to action, then magnetized more things that supported that evolution. And yeah, and then so the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz is just so big, like be impeccable with your word. And then I feel like Dr. Joe Dispenza brings it even deeper by bridging mysticism and science and like mysticism and magnetism, like electromagnetism. So it's like really like we live in a world that literally rearranges and magnetizes itself according to how you spell it out to be word for word. So what are you saying? What stories do you tell yourself? And so then it came into the deep like mindset shift of what thoughts, what am I thinking? And then identifying some of these thoughts. Oh my God, that's not even my own. That's not my own. Or that's not my own. And that is not aligned with what I stand for, And so I think the biggest thing one of the biggest things is just like be aware of the words that your tongue chooses in a world that rearranges and magnetizes itself according to how you spell it out to be word for word. And that is your thoughts. Your thoughts, like also the brain cannot distinguish past, present, or future. And it's so often that we're just stuck in that loop because we're thinking the same things over and over again and being with the same people and reading, spending time like reading the news and all of these things. And then all of a sudden you look at it and you have no space to create a new thought. And so it's just boom every day. So it's like slowly taking the small steps, and not because like this is like never ending like ladder to ascension. It's not that. It's like making these small shifts of change that genuinely allow you to flourish and feel good, because that is the birthright. I think another big thing is like, how can I be free? How can I dance when I know that the world is in pain? And it's like, well, that is the responsibility. Like, how can I dance when I know that there's genocide happening? How can I sing when I know that how can I be free when I know that there is like, no, that's the responsibility. Because if we can maintain that frequency, so basically the thought creates an electric charge that produces a biochemical feedback that creates the emotion, which is chemical. And then the thought is electric, the feeling is magnetic. The thoughts and feelings merge to create the electromagnetic field around your body equal to your state of being. So whatever you are thinking and feeling is what is continuing to magnetize things into your life, but not only magnetize it into you, but fertilize the earth, air, and soil around you. And it's like truly like love wins. I feel like that's can I swear on here? I'll keep going. That's yeah,
Oh,
it's fine.
I say fuck all the time.
Okay, I'm like, that's bullshit. Yeah, so it's when it comes to love wins. It is the strongest vibration. And so yes, there is fear and there are things that are happening in this world, but it is ours. If you have the spaciousness and capacity to hold that frequency of freedom or love or joy, not like spiritually bypassing yourself either, but like understanding that it creates a torus field around your body that is, and like look at the earth has that electromagnetic field. We have the same thing. Look up torus field if you don't already know, like, and I know you do, but like just for the listeners. But yeah, so it's just like understanding that, and like there was the grand responsibility that if I have the capacity to hold this sense of freedom, that heals the planet. And like when we come together and do that collectively, in classes and in meditations, and now there's 10 people that are holding that vibration, like that does. She was like, even today, I was telling you too, like in the class, she was like, one person affects at least 1,000 people in their lives. And then I like fact checked it and it said like 80,000 people in their lives because you influence like 2 to 3 people a day. I feel like the 1,000 is like the proper influence. Yeah. And then we had 19 students in the class, and like she was like, who wants to share this wisdom with others? And all 19 women raised their hands. So she's like, so that's 19,000 people that we're impacting. So what do you think, what do you believe that heaven on earth could actually be created if more people are aware of this wisdom, and not just this wisdom, but yeah, the wisdom of the Dharma and returning home to the self and how fucking powerful we are. Do we believe that heaven on earth is possible? And it was like, yeah, like for so long, it was like, okay, no, it's only a state of mind, but it's like, no, actually, I do believe that there can be some kind of union if we all return to this deep wisdom of connecting the mind, heart, and body and moving our bodies and understanding that like it's as within, so without. That's another big one. Like that has another big practice that has been so prevalent in this journey of like it's as within, so without. Like if your body's set, people like for example be like, I can't practice yoga because I'm not flexible. Well, it's like that's actually not a prerequisite to yoga. And if you're not flexible, that's your body telling you that you're tight, and maybe you should stretch a little deeper and breathe a little deeper, like not to the point of pain. And like again, the purpose is not flexibility, but your body is communicating something to you. Or like if you twist your body and that hurts, that there's tension there. So it's like, how can we massage and breathe into that tension with the breath, with the movements, with the stretches, and then understanding oxygen detoxifies the toxins in the body. So it's like, if you're doing those things, you're oxygenating your body, you're sending nutrients into your body. And then when you have, and then you're clearing, the oxygen breaks up the lactic acid so that the communication between the neural pathways in your body can flow more fluidly. When we choose emotions like love, joy, and gratitude, same thing. It's like upregulating gene expressions of oxytocin and dopamine and serotonin and these things that like allow us to feel more and be more open and think more clearly. And when you think clearly, when you are not limited by fear and these limiting beliefs, or you are clouded by like, what the fuck is being human, the more clear you are and you're within your body, the more you're able to think clearly. So it's just like, yeah, again, coming back to taking care of the vessel, that is the home of the souls, and understanding that these thoughts are creating emotions. Like if it's anger, then you're upregulating gene expression for cortisol, and it's like that. Of course, like in the right amount, cortisol is good, and also too. So it's also the whole like duality of it too, is like understanding like not the spiritual bypassing of things. Because then at the beginning too, I was like, oh, I can't be angry because that's not yogic of me. And then now understanding, I think like one of the biggest ones too is like yoga is union. The anger and passion, there's this perceived separation between the two, but it's, are you angry about injustice or passionate about justice? Are you angry about, not being free, or passionate about freedom? So it's like there's not a separation in that. So I think too, like another one of the biggest things is like the full spectrum. It is our pleasure to experience the full spectrum of emotion. And like I was mentioning, depression was what started it. And now like in the moment, it was like, I'm so depressed. And then when I was getting through it, was like, God, I was so depressed. It's so embarrassing. And now it's like, wow, I felt so deeply. I was so sensitive. And I felt that in my body that didn't, this life that was being created, that I was creating right now, was not in highest alignment for me. And I could feel that in my whole body. And so then it had its like different effects, right? And that presented itself. Um, excuse me. So the power of thought, the power of stretching your body, the power of believing in yourself, and also honoring like it is our pleasure to experience the full spectrum of emotions. And like your heart is never breaking, but it's only breaking open wider. Like when you go deep into your shadows, there's no shame in that. They only make you lighter, and it's like not one without the other. I wouldn't know this deep depth of love and appreciation for life if I didn't hate it so much, you know? And so it's like we alchemize that trauma to treasure, the pain to pleasure and purpose. And that's our pleasure to do it. That's what separates us from like gods and angels and demons or whatever, like God literally created the core of creation is desire. So whatever you want to believe in, God created, he wanted to experience himself and he couldn't because so he created life, or he or she, God or goddess, and it's just that the desire, the ability to alchemize, to be gentle and compassionate with yourself the whole way. It's your pleasure to experience the full spectrum. And that is what allows you to create that emotional guidance system. Does this feel good? Cool, do more of it. That doesn't feel good? Cool, do less of it. And so using your emotions as an emotional guidance system and this like beautiful navigation system to create a reality that feels good because to feel good is your birthright.
That's oh, well, thank you for sharing all. It was so fun to watch just you come alive and so much passion come out and just I love your appreciation for the body because it's so akin to my appreciation. Like it's crazy. It's fucking crazy sometimes.
It's it's
And
crazy.
like I think about because in Chinese medicine it's all qi and it's all blood. And I'm like, what? And they say like blood is the mother of qi and qi is the commander of blood. And I'm just like, but what is it all really? Like what is blood the real for real? Because it carries all these things. But um and now in my passion, you talking about the desire. So and I think that's something that gets a little bit overwritten or a little bit kind of thrown to the dust a bit or even misdefined. I don't know if that's the right word, is desire. Because I actually just recently did recorded a podcast about the love story of Shiva and Shakti. And
Mhm.
after Sati and Shiva had their, and if you guys aren't familiar, don't worry. It's out there somewhere, the podcast. I'm sure it'll be published before this, but so Sati kills herself. Shiva is devastated and eventually he settles back into deep meditation. He's like, I can't do that again. Like, I miss my Shakti. I'm going to go back deep, deep, deep in the back folds of my mind to reconnect and reunite with her. But then the world just descended into chaos. And so what the gods did, because Parvati came to Shiva and she was like, Mama, I respect you, can't do that again. But they were like, no, but we need this divine connection. And so they asked the Hindu Cupid to shoot an arrow into his heart. And that desire, it stirred his heart and it was enough to help him wake up. And it's like there's the illusion that we wake up
Um,
from, but there's also that like, okay, I know what this is, but I can't do this all again. And there's also I think there's a waking up from that as well. Thank you for
oh.
yeah, aho.
Yeah.
And as we say basi. Okay, so Dharma. Dharma is the segue I would love to go in, especially because you were talking about it in school today. I would love to know how you intend to play out your soul's dharma here. And I mean, I kind of get a gist of what your dharma is, but for anyone who hasn't picked up what you've been putting down, if you can share what you feel is a part of your dharma as well.
Mm. Dharma. The purpose for purpose. That has been such a beautiful journey because I'm still uncovering it. Like I feel like I only discovered what Dharma is like 4 years ago. I quit my corporate job like 4 years ago. So
Oh,
it's
you went
been,
all the way to corporate.
oh yeah, girl. I was like working up the corporate ladder.
Oh shit.
hmm
What were you
hmm
doing? I'm just curious. Sorry to interrupt you, but
no, you're good. I was in sales. And then one day my boss was like, just think you could be me in 10 years. And I was like,
I'll die.
I quit. And then yeah, I think but there was this there so at the core of it was nutrition and wellness. That was like I think when I was 16 I like stopped taking meds. I was like super against the pharmaceutical industry. I saw like my little brother get addicted to Xanax. I saw my little sister turn into a zombie from Prozac. And I don't want to like create some like things about pharmaceuticals. I just want to say like I think that there is some things that are supportive. I think that there's some things that are not, but like not talking down on anything, but this is just my own experience of what I've seen. I also had my own experience with this. I was like no pharma by the time I was like 16, and then it was just like I loved cooking and like how foods come together and stuff. Um, but yeah, so that was like kind of there, and I wanted to study nutrition, but my parents were like, "You got to study business. You're not gonna make any money doing nutrition." And I was like, "Okay," because everybody in my family has like their master's and their PhD, and um, yeah, I'm only giving the backstory because like if you don't know your dharma, don't worry. Like tune into what feels good and keep tuning into it, and it will continue to unfold and present itself. There's no rush to identify your dharma. And the moment that you think you know your dharma, the doors open up even more to see like how much grander and larger and deeper you can go. So yeah, anybody listening right now, if you, yeah. But yeah, so it's just like, I mean, that was when that was what, like 15 years ago now, where it was that had just kind of started. And then I still did the school. I was in school for 4 years, and then I did the corporate thing for another like 2 years. And then in the last 4 years, just like getting more into yoga and Ayurveda and just getting clear on what that would look like. So now, 4 years into it, I think it is just to inspire freedom, to bring women together. That's been a bit that one came very recently, like in the last year, to bring women together. So again, like just if you think you know your dharma or you don't know your dharma yet, like it will continue to present itself. Keep following what feels good. Follow your bliss for real, and speak your fucking truth. Because the one about women came forth because I finally started to open up about like specific like non-consensual experiences and abuse and things like that. And then the more that I did, the more women that I heard I had also experienced that, and like that healing that comes when we come together, when we thought that we were alone, but at the core of it, we were all one. And then we can come together, rise together, and hold each other in that. So that's become really prevalent lately of bringing women together. But yeah, I think nutrition, like wellness, like taking care of this vessel that houses the soul so that you can be your fullest self. So like that's where the dance comes in, and I love like talking about cerebral spinal fluid and nutrition. Like what foods are you eating? What things are you drinking? What thoughts are you thinking? Like how are you feeding your mind, body, and spirit? And um yeah, so Dharma, to inspire freedom, to bring women together, to to preserve health and prevent disease. Because I think too, oh God, and like be this deep reminder that we are not alone, but all one. Because I feel like growing up, I was so separate. Again, it's like Dharma is the alchemization of pain into purpose. Like
Mm.
that's all we talked about in our class today was like whatever you had that was fucking you up, that you were able to alchemize, you can now help other people to do that. And then now, like when you are in your Dharma and then suffering does come up, you can literally take a seat back that's a little bit less attached and be like, okay, I see that this is happening for the good. So I think, yeah, that not alone, but all one, like we're not isolated. Because I think too, like having had depression and, I feel a lot. So like I was also you might call like somebody might say that I was manic or bipolar because it's like this ability to feel so like so deeply. And it's just like, or depressed because but it's like, no, like, are you depressed or is your body in a deep rest? Because it's just like not, it's exhausted. And it's like, are you manic or like, were you in a situation that did not feel good, like deeply, and then you had deeply communicated that, and like, so to redefine what disease is really just dis-ease and imbalance that we can bring back into balance, and to negate the idea that it has to be outside of us, that it has to come from pharmaceuticals or that it has to come from someone else who can fulfill us. Like, no, everything that we need comes from the earth and ourselves and the thoughts that we're thinking and the food that we're eating. Yeah. And what are we consuming and mentally, spiritually, and emotionally?
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, and making music, like free, it comes into all of
I
it.
know
Like I
there's
want to
so
make
many things.
right, right. It's like it's the cute. It's like I want to make music. Like I make music and like I do vocal activation. I love watching people open up their voice. So I think and connect to their voice and see how they can move things. Just I think it's just maybe yoga. Like if I were to put it in Dharma into one word, be like yoga, that union. You're not separate. Everything is connected. As within, so without. Yoga, union,
Mm.
and,
Mm.
and
Mhm.
all the little things that come from
Yeah, all the little things
that.
in between. Ah, wow. I think this is why Troy was like, you guys need to connect because I'm right there with you. Right there with you, sister. And I'm reading this really great book called Dispelling with Tico. And what Tico is it's like a mental parasite that the Native Americans saw within the white colonizers, right? That's now pervasive within Western society. And it's
Oof.
it's this, yeah, it's this deep disconnect. I've only just started the book. I'm only like 50 pages in, and it's blowing my mind and just putting to words so much what like this mental illness that's pervaded into like well it's a spiritual illness that can either manifest as mental or physical illness, but also just this deep disconnect from the self. I have so many people every day because I'm an acupuncturist, so often telling me like, what should I do? What why am I like this? And I'm like, I can't tell you what to do and I can't tell you why you're like this. All I can do is help you listen. I can
Mm,
help you hold space for what's happening and help you open your heart because that's the only way you can figure this shit out. It's the only, at least it's the only way I've been able to figure this out. So that's my dharma, I would say, is to help people listen to the whispers before they become the screams.
mm. That's so beautiful. And it just like, yeah, we think that there's something wrong with us because there's this imbalance. And it's like, it's not that there's something wrong with you. It's like you're just, there's disharmony within your soul. And we have the power to call that prana, the chi, whatever. I love it because you work with chi. I love our medicines because you're
Yeah.
Chinese and I'm Ayurvedic. So it's like you have chi and we have prana, but like the things that I love so good. And I love watching all of your stories about Chinese medicine. I also save this. Is that your Instagram, by the way? Like, side note, was that your Instagram with the wheel? You had like a wheel of the colors of the time.
Oh, so that's my work Instagram. So I just, oh, well, it's where I work, and then they're having me like create everything for the Instagram. So yeah.
But yeah, no, I love it. Thank you so much I love our little things. But yeah, when you bring that prana back to you, when you call your power back, like you allow that harmony, and harmony is natural. Look at nature. Nature is harmonious. All of the trees and the plants and the birds and all of the animal kingdom and the fungal networks, they all work together in harmony. And so we are naturally harmonious. And then when there is disharmony, of course you are going to feel depressed or anxious. So not yeah, not when, so I'm hearing like when we talk about when people come to us and we're like, oh, like what's wrong? And it's just like, there's this, what is in disharmony? And how can you bring more harmony into your life? And it's like, poof, all the ways that we do that, acupuncture, right? Massage, yoga, movement, breath, dancing, singing, being in community, eating delicious food. Like it's really so easy. Changing your mind, living, yeah, loving, staying open.
Yeah. Let's segue into the magic of twerking.
Hey,
I wish this was on video. Those pants. Those pants. Holy shit.
amazing, right? And they're
Yeah.
soft.
Velvety silver magic. All right. Let's tell me how you got into twerk. Okay, well actually, I'm gonna give you my background because um yeah, because I think this is the story that possibly a lot of women may have who have not been just like, they're like, yeah, fucking twerking, yeah, fuck yeah. Okay, so for me, my introduction to twerking was Miley Cyrus and all of those people. I just, even though it's been in culture for generations, to me, that was my introduction. I was like, wow, talk about attention seeking. And then I have a big sister who would get really drunk and twerk a lot. She doesn't listen to this podcast. And I would be like, again, wow, that's really attention seeking. She's really trying to like look for a specific type of attention that just I was not about it. I was not a fan. It kind of turned me off. And it hasn't only been until the past maybe 3 years. I think it was in an ayahuasca ceremony that I started twerking. And even though like I really didn't know how to, I think there were little moments where I was like, but could I do it? And I was like, no, I can't. I don't know how. But then it was in an ayahuasca ceremony, my body's twerking. I'm like, oh, this is where this has been. And then I started to understand there was something so much more than what image you were trying to create, what sort of projection there was trying to be. So that was my introduction. So I would love to hear yours, and I would love to hear like what would you say to a woman who is still in that like that mindset and still in that perspective around twerking?
Phew. Well, yeah, so valid. I mean, it really comes down to like the shame collectively around women allowing themselves to be expressed. like this collective shame around expressing ourselves, and how seeing another woman express themselves triggers something inside of us. And it might come, and then it's like, are you saying, oh, that's attention seeking? But, and also I wonder if you were to like look deeper into what that was in that moment, like, was it that, or did she have just like this freedom or this sense of not giving a fuck, that maybe was a deeper trigger, is like the attention was,
100%. She
so
caught
it's
my
like,
attention, right?
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And then when you go to do it, it's like at the end, when it comes down to it, like sometimes, yeah, sometimes people are dancing for external, and that's cool, do your thing. For me, it's very like, it is like going to a yoga class, you know. It didn't start like that. I was like, you know, like I would get drunk and twerk, and it was actually on, it was like, I don't know, it was yeah, I think it was attention, or it was just fun or something like that. You know, it's like, I'm from Miami. I was up on like the tops of bars and twerking upside down on police cars type shit. You know? And it wasn't until recently. But then that like kind of became my style of dance. And I don't know if it's because I'm from Miami, or because I'm like from the Miami area, that that was so prevalent in my life. And then it was recently I learned that when you arch and tuck the base of the spine, or when you breathe, the base of the spine naturally lifts. And what that lift does is send cerebral spinal fluid up the spine and into the brain. And it increases nutrient distribution, toxin removal. And it also, and then when we exaggerate the sacral floor lift by arching and tucking the base of the spine, so whether you're doing like a Kegel exercise and like lifting the pelvic spine, or literally twerking, or also if you're in mission, like as I'm like met, sometimes men will be like, I can't twerk. It's like you're doing when you're in missionary, when you're on top in missionary, you're literally arching and tucking the base of your spine, and you feel that, right? You feel it coming up your. This is Kundalini. Like we can call it cerebral spinal fluid, we can call it chi, we can call it prana, we can call it Kundalini. Like it's all of these things. It's coming up your spine into the pineal gland, into your third eye, however you want to understand that too. And when we exaggerate that sacral floor lift, it accelerates the circulation of whatever you want to call it up the spine. And then floods the pineal gland, transmutes melatonin into benzodiazepines, which it which silences the amygdala, it silences the survival center, it silences fear. So actually, like when we're twerking, we actually do start to give less of a fuck, because it is silencing fear. It's like literally like, I don't give a fuck what I look like right now. I'm just gonna like, like silences fear. And when you silence fear, so whether you want to understand it is like when you're dancing, like I don't give a fuck, and this feels good. So on top of that, melatonin is also transmuted into penilines, which is the most powerful antioxidant that our body produces. So like it fucking feels good, you know. And so when you get pat, like when people are doing, and like, and I think too, like if it comes to like, oh, like the like for it's so speaking to a woman, I just glitched so hard. Speaking to a woman who like might still have that, like, oh, she's seeking attention, like, and so what? You know, like also like, why are you judging her? Like, and you're judging, you know, and it's just like, who are you to judge? And it's like people, and then it comes down to like, and then when you, if you are twerking and you feel like you're being judged too, it's like people barely know what they think about themselves. Why does it matter what they think of you? Keep going, have fun. And then what happens too is like, yeah, you might trigger a few people, but you also might show people like, that bitch is having fun and that looks fun and she's free as fuck and I want to do that too. Like I've definitely, like, you know, when you see a girl twerking and then all of a sudden now there's this whole circle around it and now everybody's hype as fuck, like super high vibe, and then and then now there's like all the girls are twerking together. It's like, and it just like elevates that, and it's like literally fears being silenced, penal lines being blasted. That feels fucking good. And then it comes down to like one of the biggest things that I teach in my movement practices is like, it does not matter how it looks, how does it feel? And like oftentimes just closing the eye, and then what's just, yeah, it's and it's this deep wisdom too. Like we have been dancing around fires, arching and tucking the base of the spine, right? We know energy can flows for the base and from the top. So it was believed, I believe this, they were doing fire ceremonies, and like, you know, the men are playing the drums and the girls and the men are walking around the fire, twerking, like walking around the fire, dancing, shaking their ass. We've seen a lot of like African cultures and traditions, and like, oh my gosh, and South American, and yeah, just actually a lot of traditions of like shaking and arching and tucking, and it was believed that because it would open up the root chakra, like the base of the spine, so that energy can flow through us more fluidly. And then again, if energy is flowing through us more fluidly, if we are more clear, and in another way you can think of it too, wait, if we are more clear, how well, how much better do we know ourselves? How much clearer are we on our path? And what feels good for us and what does not. And it goes down to is like taking it even deeper, that cerebral spinal fluid or whatever it is you want to call it, the chi, the prana, the life force, the kundalini, like it is moving through every center in the body, whether you want to understand it as chakras, like this is coming up your body cleansing, or if you want to understand it, neural plexus, a group of neurons that are operating with the same brain, whether it's connected to your kidneys, your liver, your stomach, your heart, your throat, your pineal gland. It is clearing that. So they believe that as they're arching it, as they're twerking, that it would literally send the energy up the spine, and allow them to be a clear channel for God. And yeah, yeah. And so I think if you have resistance to twerking, start somewhere, arch and tuck the base of the spine. And it doesn't even have to be twerk. Maybe just start with dance because dance is such a beautiful practice too. And then get into twerk, and or not. It's your life, so do what you want, but like find your edge. Why doesn't it feel good? What's coming up for you? We store so much in the hips. So when you start to shake it, things might come up for you. Allow them to, like, allow yourself to meet that and then alchemize it through the dance, through the ability to silence fear. I'm afraid of what people are thinking. Okay, people barely know what they think about themselves. Why does it matter what they think of you? I'm afraid of what it looks like. Okay, how does it feel, babe? Like, yeah, and then have fun. Don't take yourself so seriously. That's like the biggest. That's another like one of my
Yes.
big things is like life is not that fucking serious. Like I teach twerk in my yoga classes, and that can be contradicting for a lot of people. Like you're culturally appropriating. It's like there's this deep wisdom about union. And it's the full spectrum. You can be sensual and yogic at the same time. It is not separate. So and you can be serious, like you can be scientific, but you can also be spiritual. Like all of these different things that you can be at the same time that was this perceived illusion of separation. Oh, like so you can do yoga but you can't like unite to God in a way that is arching and tucking the base of your spine and has now it's like I think what's happened honestly is that shame has been created around that because we know how powerful it is. And like if more women like silenced fear and blasted their body with penile lines, anti-lung disease, anti-heart disease, antimicrobial, how good would we feel and how much more power would we have? And so I feel like too, there's this kind of like propaganda to shame and suppress women. And I think that that's like a collective thing too, like even hearing like that, oh, she's seeking attention, it's like, whose thought is that? Is it even ours? Like, where did that come from? Because it's actually such a beautiful thing to be so in touch with your sensuality and your ability to move and dance. And then again, if it is if somebody is doing it for attention, like, is it hurting you? Like, so yeah. But yeah, fucking freedom, bro.
I should
Working.
have known that you were gonna add a physiological explanation into it. I was like, oh, she's like bringing the spiritual and the physiological. Like you delivered. Thank you, my friend.
Yes, I actually, and like now too, it's like I won't even call it twerking. I call it throwing that ass in a healing circle because that's literally what's happening. It's literally what's happening. It's like the same thing as shaking, right? We know that shaking drains the lymphatic system, that shaking moves things in our body, that shaking, like dogs shake after they get in a fight. Ducks flap their wings after they get in a fight. Humans, I'm like, I'm gonna hold on to this forever and protect myself from ever having to feel this pain again. It's like, what kind of life is that? Shake it off, let it go, like shake. What comes up when you shake? So it's like all the different styles of shaking. Phew.
Mhm. There's this. Have you heard of the song "Shake Your Ass for Your Ancestors"? I
No, but
gotta
I
say.
it's gonna be the first thing that I do when I get off of this call.
Yeah. But like in July, I'm going to Africa to do an initiation with this. I'm just gonna call him a cult, Bwiti. There's several tribes that are within it, but part of that initiation is for hours and hours and hours on end. The women dance around the fire, and they're all shaking their asses. And it's a part of it
Phew.
is like just like you said, a part of it is it's channeling ancestors.
Hmm.
Yeah, so like love it, love it, love it, love it. I needed to hear that, even though I've healed a lot of those sides of me. It's a beautiful reminder. Thank you for questioning those sides, and thank you for bringing the science in because I'm a double Virgo, so I love that. Like I gotta have that part in it because now it's like I'm even more committed
Yeah.
to my
Like, wait,
twerk
let me
practice.
silence fear. And then I think too is like to
Silence
dance,
and
like you're just
fear.
talking about the ancestors too, is like there are women who are literally not allowed to dance in the right now in 2025. There are women who are not allowed to dance and to express themselves. So another thing too is like to like channel that, dance for the women who are not allowed to dance. Dance for the women who weren't allowed to dance before you, you know? And then yeah, like you said, it's just becoming that clear channel for ancestors, for God, for messages, for transmissions, like for your own ability to think clearly. It's like, and when fear is silence, like how limitless are we really? That sounds so dope what you're doing in Africa. Wait. I'm gonna text you about this after.
Yeah.
We're doing what now?
Oh, and then one other thing that kept on coming up while you were talking was in the book, the Watiko book, he talks about how the collective dream and a part of that illusionary dream is when we see the part, we think we know the whole. And so to go back to that, oh, she's attention seeking. She might be, and that's a part, but that's not the whole. She may be seeking attention from her ancestors or seeking attention from a man or seeking attention to show herself of like how good this feels, like having her own desire unlocked and opened up. Oh, love, love, love this. Okay. Last thing I want to talk about is your recent journey into music. I feel like I want to have you on the show again someday to talk about Ayurveda, but I feel like you're deep into that portal. So, as much as I want to tap into that, I feel like I want to hear about your music because I love to sing. I love watching you sing. I love your voice. There's actually this other song I want to send you that I always think, I don't know why I always think about you. It's just a beautiful voice singing This Isn't Real and I Call It Love. And I always think about you. And when I hear it for whatever reason, like even when I only just started, like you came into my consciousness. So I'll send you that too. But yes, please, please, please. I would want to hear about your voice, your connection with that, and yeah, this journey into music now.
Thank you so much for that sweet reflection. That's so sweet. To be seen is to be loved.
Mm.
Wow, the music journey. I loved singing when I was a child. I said, I think I mentioned I was like kind of isolated. I don't know if I isolated myself or if I was isolated, if it was a mix of both, but like as a child, and I would just go in the forest and sing to the trees and sing to the fairies and to the swamps and then I would love to like sing and do music videos with my for my family, like all of these things. And then and then my family dynamic shifted a little bit and there was a lot of stress in my family and but I would see I always felt this like whenever I sang I was able to release and I didn't understand at the time, you know, I'd be like 15, 16, 17, like right. And then around so around this time when all of this was happening I was like 15, 16, 17. And my mom would be like, stop singing, you're singing too loud. And like really I'd be like it would be such a powerful release and in retro like even talking I don't even think I've reflected so much on this but like how powerful singing was for me like in that stressful time like really I think that making those sounds um was really healing for me at those times and so however what happened was my mother would be like stop singing and I'd be like can I sing along with the radio she was like only as long as you're not singing louder than the radio and I was just like and then I would try out for you know solos in school and high school and I wanted to be in this like the dance singing group in high school and the lead in a play and stuff like that and I didn't get any of it and then my mom and then just like you know my parents just being like be quiet and all of these things and so I stopped singing for like 6 years I was like well I'm not good um my voice is invaluable like what's the point whatever and I even when I was little my dreams was so that from 7 to 10 my dreams were to be a famous singer and a motivational speaker and although that has like unfolded in a different way and might continue to unfold, it still has I sing now. I'm on Spotify, like these little things. And then like motivational speaker, like I feel like when you're in a yoga class, it's just like, and you got this. And like my glasses are very like, and believe in yourself, kind of thing. So it's like, anyway, that was kind of just like back to that Dharma 7 and 10 years thing and how things take their time. So for 6 years I stopped singing. And then I came to San Marcos. I live here in Guatemala right now for 4 years. And um yeah, I started to, it's a very free place. There's a lot of free souls here and a lot of people that are artistically inclined, especially with music. Um, and um and then yeah, I would see all these people singing. It was bringing so much inspiration. It was inviting that like, wait, I love to sing back to me. And I stopped living with people, so I had more space to like kind of take up space with my voice. And then I remember, but then I was like, oh, but I still have the story that I'm not good because that's why I was always silent. I'm not good, and I never got the solos and all this. So it's just that story, right? But then I heard this girl sing, and it was fucking horrible. I was like that. Literally, how is she on a stage right now? And like, who's giving her the floor? Like, this is disrespectful. But then I like took a step back. I was like, okay, well, she's up there and you're not. So there's something. And then I like tuned into it. And I started to see like more people that were kind of on that same page. Like it was like, not really in tune or this or that. And I have a Virgo moon, so it's like everything has to be perfect. So I hear you on the double Virgo girl. Like fuck. Well, I don't know about double Virgo, but Virgo, I do have a Virgo placement. But anyway, but then I started noticing like more people doing that. And then I was like, then I like tuned into it and it was like, these people are singing from and I was looking around. I'm like, is nobody else hearing this? But no, they're singing right along with them. And and I was like, wait, there's no such thing as good or bad. If it comes from your heart, there is no such thing as good or bad. Every sound that your body makes is perfect. And when we make sound, we are alchemizing. We are like, especially for women, oh my God, the larynx and the uterus were developed from the same embryo. The throat and the womb are deeply connected. When we vibrate our throat, we're vibrating our womb. And then when we say, I mean, sound, when we make sound and when we hear sound, vibrates every cell, fluid, and organ in the body. So when we make these sounds in specific tones, like wow. And so when I was like, I got to like dive deeper into that. So the last 4 years, was just diving deeper into music, and I heard this beautiful story that was so helpful. So the first thing that was so helpful in like re-inviting my voice back was just like, there's no such thing as good or bad if it comes from the heart. Six. And the second part was, and I think this kind of still goes with this is like this beautiful story. I don't know like all the like the semantics of it, so I might butcher it, but bear with me for the sake of it. But so basically, like all these monks will go to this temple, let's just say it's for Krishna, and they're praying to Krishna and singing mantras, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, and praying and then they leave, and then the janitor comes and he's cleaning and he would sing Hare Krishna, but it sounded so bad. And the monks were like, this is disrespectful. You're disrespecting Krishna at this place. We have to ask you to leave. Like that sounds so bad. And so he left. And then the next day, the monks return to Krishna and they're praying, and it's a statue, and they're praying, singing Hare Krishna, whatever songs they're singing. And there's a tear running down the statue's eye. I'm like, Krishna, what's wrong? And he said, this gets me every time. He said that the one person that sang from the depths of their heart, you asked him to leave. Please ask him to come back. And so they asked him to come back. Please keep doing what you're doing. And it just like, it's that foundation of like, it doesn't matter. It's like dance. It doesn't matter how it looks. It doesn't matter how it sounds. How does it feel? Is it coming from your heart? And I think like that story just opened my heart open, seeing people not giving a fuck again, like the silence of fear, not giving a fuck, singing the prayer from the heart. It dissipates the separation of good or bad. It is love. And I can feel that and I could hear that. And then to tune into that. So then it's just like, yeah, going to vocal activation workshops, starting to make music again, sing again, slowly but surely. Like I was shy. I mean, I've been doing this for 4 years. I started dating 72 that was a DJ. And he invited me to like hop on a microphone. So then it was like too, I was being invited to having that sacred invitation. Because of that here, I feel like too that alignment of thoughts and feelings. I'm like, oh, maybe I'd like to sing, and that sounds really beautiful, and I love that she's doing that. And so then I was invited to sing, and then so we like toured Guatemala and Mexico together, performing and singing, and it was just like this like
Wow.
opening and opening and opening, and then that introduced me to more music. And so it's again like when you follow that bliss, it like the universe will continue to support you. So now I made friends that are producers and amazing musicians. And then I'm in jams and sitting in jams and seeing how music works. And then I sit with the medicine, I sit with Mother Ayahuasca and I see how the music is working. And it's so much deeper than like, wow, it's so deep. It's so deep. And so yeah, and so now and like going to vocal activation workshops and then now like leading those too and guiding people through this activation of the vocal and being able to see this like and now too for me like singing my prayers, like getting up and like or if I have like 10-hour sessions where I just have a microphone and maybe like a mix in the back or like a ambient mix in the back, or I also have a looper and like all these instruments. So I'll just like play and just go deep. Like it is a medicinal journey, like coming deep, and then it's like now making a sound is like maybe the sound starts just like ha, or maybe the sound's like it's gonna be loud for a second, so heads up, brace yourself. Like a hey 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 and I feel that, and then I can keep going with it. It's like hey, and then it's like, where is that take? Like, where's that guiding me? And then all of a sudden, like words come out, like I'm so grateful to sing my prayers and live today. Like grateful to pray and play and have the space, cultivate faith. And it's just like, what is, or like maybe there's been other times where it's like that same sound comes through and then it turns into this, and then this deep cry. And then I'm seeing this like pain of like, being physically abused or being molested or sexually assaulted and like all of these things. And it's like, and then it's like, it allows it to come up and it's no longer stored in my body. Just like when we shake it out, we can sing it out. And then I think what's beautiful too is then putting like the words to it, it brings this essence of levity where you're not like talking about it or journaling about it, but you're just like, oh, I want to make this rhyme and have a cadence and and like how does this come through? So it's like like songs coming through about like I thought I knew who you were, but then you showed me your true colors. I gave you all of me on a silver platter and you threw it against the wall just to watch it shatter and told all my friends that I'm fucking damaged. And it's just like it was this deep pain, but it brings this like levity of making it rhyme and bringing this cadence. But then also like I could feel that as I'm singing the song, and after the words came out, it was this deep cry, and then it was light. There was lightness after that. There's this levity after that. So it's like when I learned to sing my prayers is when my world changed, and when I learned that it doesn't matter how it looks or how it feels, it doesn't matter how it looks or how it sounds, but how it feels. Everything changed when I remembered that there's no such thing as good or bad as long as it comes from the heart. And so when everything changed.
I'm emotional right now. I'm like, that's so beautiful. Mm. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for giving us a piece of that voice of yours. It's so truly is so soulful. It's so full of soul, and to hear your story on why it's so full of soul, right? Chrystee, you're so beautiful.
Just a mirror.
Oh, I
Mm. I think too, like just wanna, I don't mean to cut you off, but just to kind of like
go for it.
wrap that up too, it's just like, and then when you learn to sing, you learn to speak your truth. Like you open, this is the throat that you are opening and activating. So it's like, if you're learning to speak your truth, you might be able to sing better. If you're learning to sing better, you might be able to like speak your truth, not better. You're like activating that singing, that the vocal
Yeah,
cords.
with
And
more
then how
depth.
can you
Yeah.
yeah, and then same with for women, especially like the uterus and the larynx, the vocal cords being so deeply connected. When you are exercising the throat, you are exercising the womb space. You're exercising, which is like our sacral, that sacral energy, that creation. So when you can speak that creation into existence through your prayer, through your words, in a world that literally rearranges and magnetizes itself according to how you spell it out to be, word for word. That's it. Like, so it's like singing is like so much deeper than just a song. It's
It,
yeah.
it's like it's bringing the formless into form.
I was
That's
literally just gonna say this, like the voice to the voiceless. Like I went to this vocal activation workshop recently, and she was like, if you don't know what you want to sing, like be like the bird and sing the song of the sunrise and the sunset, how those birds sing when the sun rises and the sun sets. Go sing for the trees, sing for the river, give voice to the voiceless. So I love, and like form to the formless, like give voice to spirit. What does spirit want to say, and like yeah. And then how all of that like really does contribute to the overall well-being, which is the birthright, like how it does move things, how it does allow you to process information, to know yourself more, to feel that freedom.
I lost my voice almost 2 weeks ago. I lost my voice for a full week, and especially in this portal that I'm in my life, processing so much, I didn't have a voice. I had to whisper, so I couldn't sing, and I just realized how pivotal, how important singing has been for processing everything
True,
for me.
true.
It's I'm I still have a
Mhm.
little. If I were my normal self, you would hear me go, ah, oh, there we go. All right. She's back. Oh, I'm so excited to one day go to your one of your activation workshops, circles, whatever it may be. That was actually going to be was a question that I was meaning to ask you is why Guatemala? But it sounds like you found like a almost like a little like bohemian circle out there to really like egg you on in your fullness.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's exactly that. Was like total fate. Like I booked this yoga, I came for a yoga teacher training in 2021, January 2021. So like COVID was still happening and I booked it in Bali. But I couldn't book the flight because the borders were closed and the only border that was open was actually Guatemala. And so I came here just like by fate. My lease was ending 6 weeks later, and I was like, "Oh, maybe I'll just like come past through Guatemala. Like 3 weeks wasn't enough. I'll go for another 3 weeks. Go through all of Central and South America." That was 4 years ago, and I've hardly left. So it's like I came with the intention for 3 weeks, but then
Wow.
it's just like you keep going deeper and deeper. There's really cool, like, I mean, I live. It was a volcano 85,000 years ago that erupted, so I live on this like volcanic portal crater with a lake inside and you have to take boats to get to the other side of the lake and to get to other towns and like that the culture is just like it's so slow. It's like slow. And there's just like they don't like a lot of people that they don't have a lot of like material, but they have so much love and so much openness and like will invite you into their, it's so beautiful. And then the souls that it attracts too is like pretty big like expat community here too. And it's just so beautiful because like these amazing teachers come through and like Kurawaka comes through, Peya came through, like amazing musicians and artists. It's like it feels like this like artist hub and artist and healer hub too. Because it's like I got to see, I think what made had me stay for so long is just like what was originally like my first three friends was like a clown who travels the world as a clown, a trapeze artist who travels the world in a circus, and a race car driver who travels the world like racing. And it's just like, wait, what the fuck? This exists? Like,
Yeah.
and then it just has kept going. Like, and she does some like somatic healing, and she does this, and everybody hears this entrepreneur, and like I feel like for me, like being an entrepreneur was never something that was like um supported, especially like in Western culture. I feel like I haven't really seen that in Western culture. It's like, no, follow the system. And to see like everybody here is an entrepreneur and like a soul entrepreneur. So that's really beautiful. And then yeah, I keep thinking I'm gonna leave. And then I finally was just like, fuck it, just stay. Yeah.
Maybe I'll move there one day.
Girl, come through.
All right, my closing questions for you. First one, food therapy is just so big in my practice, so big in my life, and I always love to hear about a food, whether, that be an herb. I've had people literally say water, which that's awesome. Whatever it may be that has felt just like an ally, a nourishing ally on this journey here.
Mm. It could be an herb.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
The rose.
Mm. Tell
The
me more.
rose. Like, oh gosh, like to sit with her I mean the path of the rose this comes into lineages now of like Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene and like following the path of love. I think like it's how she affects me like internally and through her scent, and then also just the story that she holds. Like the rose is a rose is not a rose without her flower and her thorns, and that is like that fully human, fully divine. Like you are not one or the other. You can't have pain and suffer, like joy without pain and suffering. That is the rose flower and thorns. And I love that that's what she stands for. And then just like when you smell a rose, like one of the things that Ayurveda talks about a lot is like this is scent, like to actually aid in your digestion, smell your food, and then it produces the digestive juices that are necessary for producing whatever it is that you're consuming. And then it's like on top of that, the way that when you smell a rose, the way that it felt like so then it comes into your olfactory, it affects the olfactory bulb, which is connected to the limbic system. And like literally helps you relax and rest and like feel safe. And like it's like, wait, this beautiful flower does this. And then just like I put her in like all of my teas, all of my cacaos, all of my coffees, just like to that and feeling that heart openness, whether it's like, the placebo. I mean, I know it's not the placebo effect, but like whether it is the placebo effect of just like, oh, having this like heart opening thing, or just like the deep medicine that the rose carries. She's just so beautiful. That and turmeric and ginger. I will also say turmeric and ginger are just
Like a true student of Ayurveda.
yeah. Like, oh my God, turmeric and ginger and everything. But yeah.
I am so big on smell. We sell at work, we sell the capsules of herbs, and I tell everyone, like, please, if you're open to it, open the capsule and make a tea so that you can smell it and taste it. Because to me, it's like you're missing a third of or two-thirds of the medicinal properties when you just put it in your gut. Like you
Yes.
just, yeah.
Yes. I have this book called Magical Aromatherapy, and it like literally talks about don't even make teas. Like literally, like I have a jar by my bedside table. Just like you take it and you smell it, and I mixed it. I was like just doing it's like says all the properties of all of the herbs. You would probably love this Magical Aromatherapy. I can send it to you after. But sorry. So I put calendula, chamomile, mugwort, and I feel like there is one more, but it's not coming forward. But basically, like all of these herbs that are really good for sleep and psychic abilities and dreams. And literally, like when you smell that, so without even drinking it, I also will drink it, but having this on the side of your bed, just taking a few sniffs, this and how it is affecting all of these herbs are affecting the olfactory bulb and affecting your body. And wow, it's so beautiful. So yeah, really cool stuff. Just this, I love that you're telling people to smell their butt. Like it's so important. So like, and then yeah, for anyone listening too, if you want to just like put some herbs on your bedside table or put some herbs like next to your yeah, yeah, the magical aromatherapy book goes so deep to like garlic is for protection and like you can have like energizing things and you put like make a little herb concoction and put it on your table. It's just like insane. So beautiful. Sense of smell. There we go. I'm like scent of smell, scent of sense, sense of
Sense
sense.
of scent, sense of scent. That works too. Oh, beautiful. And then my last question is, and you can share to whatever depth you're comfortable with, sharing a pearl from a darkness that you've recently found yourself on the other side of, or that you are currently moving through.
Mm, girl, I love that. There is always treasure in the trauma. I mean, that's the pearl, is that there is always treasure in the trauma. There is always pleasure in the pain. And if you can't see it in the moment, or if you're going through like a dark night of the soul too, it's like there always is light at the end of the tunnel and everything is temporary. And you have the power to make it through. And it really just comes down to choice. What are you choosing? And if you say, are you choosing love? Are you choosing love for yourself or for somebody else? I think like I was in a somehow found myself in an abusive relationship, like physically abusive, and I stayed, and so fucking hard to leave. Oh my God, now I understand. Um, and it was really hard. And there's just like a lot of like putting down, some people, and also you guys, if people are putting you down, only it's because they think that you're above them and there is no hierarchy. So like check yourself. if that's happening, and just know that it has so much more to do with you than with them. And like, yeah, and so I started to take on, oh, this deep love and this listening, and then I was taking on all of these stories that weren't my own, and it was just like, yeah, that was so. But what it really showed me is like the lack of love and structure that I had for myself in that time. And so this last year, so we broke up a year ago. I moved out on 222 last year. Um, and this last year has just been, it was really hard because like the self-sabotage, like how could I have the shame of self-sabotaging myself, and the pain of feeling like I was unworthy of love and that I deserved to be abused and that that was my karma, and all these other stories. And then this last year, um just coming back and like healing that. And then what that was like, some people, I heard this quote, it was like, sometimes you, like in a partnership, one person is to show you that you are worthy of love or that you can be loved, and sometimes it's to show you that you need to love yourself. And so I think that that foundation of having the self-love, allowing yourself to feel everything, being really compassionate that you made that decision. Because it's like, it really was, like for me, it really was like, I see, if I love you hard enough, like this will absolve your anger and your need to lash out, and it's like, that's not your responsibility to hold and give that love to yourself, because you are not loving yourself by allowing yourself to be, like hurt like that. And so building that unconditional love, and then when you do, like more of it will come. Like in this last year, being able to connect with more friends that are open to this love, we can share it together. And that if somebody thinks that you're too much or not enough, um, that has so much more to do with them than with you. And this unconditional love is limitless, and you are allowed to be angry. You're allowed to wake up different every single day. Like I just had all these stories of like, you're bipolar, you're manic, you're crazy. And it's just like, I feel deeply, and I don't find so much wrong with that. And so if anybody is listening and they feel like somebody is telling them these things, maybe just reflect on how beautiful it is to feel these things so deeply. And yeah, cultivate that unconditional love for the self, because like now I've been with friends and they've seen me like lash out or like get angry about something little, and they weren't like, you're fucking crazy and you're manic and they're just like, actually nothing. Not they It just was. It just wasn't a pat, and it was never like, yeah, so it's like, yeah, unconditional love, and it starts with you and that deep compassion for the self. And the more that you show yourself with, the more that you will attract situations and relations, sacred relations that are harmonized with that deep unconditional love that you have. And it's not too much and it's not enough. It's like just right for the right people.
I
Yeah. And
think
there's nothing wrong with like losing your shit when you are in a circumstance that is forcing you to lose your shit. Yeah. And like there are pure mirrors and there are distorted mirrors. And it really, yeah. Yeah. Phew.
thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. There's so much parallel in my own journey, and I lately have been thinking about is, if there's no self-love put first within a relationship, then when you're choosing to love the other person above yourself, is that really love, or is that fear? Is that attachment? And that's why I left my husband, because I realized I put my love for him above my love for myself, and then that love got corrupted. It's like I get this image of blood, and then this like this injection of this black just whooshing into the vein, and this loss of life force. And it's so hard. It's so hard to fill in the empty spaces, because at the end of the day, they are souls that we connect so deeply with and we love. We're lovers. Like we are lover girls. I see that in you. Yeah. And just being able to, like you said, like validate the highs and lows and the pain, and to love, and to choose to love anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, there's this like, yeah, oh, I hear you. And I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. And I know that it takes so much fucking courage and strength to step out. Like, it is not, I thought, I like when I heard somebody else was in it, I was like, why wouldn't you just leave? And I'm like, oh. But there's like this little thing that little song that actually the Rose wrote. Do you mind if it's like a really short, do you mind if I give a
Please,
little?
please, absolutely.
The illusion of separation defies your divination, for a rose is not a rose without her flowers and her thorns, and a rainbow's not a rainbow without sun and storm, and you could not be who you are today without everything that's happened along the way. Don't be afraid of your heart to break. It's only breaking wider. Don't be ashamed of your shadows. They only make you lighter. Ooh. And I think it just like touches on that, like, don't be afraid to get your heart broken and take these things, like like be in these situations that are causing you pain, and have that compassion for the self, because it's like that there is, like you said, you asked me, what is the pearl in the darkness? And it's like, what is the treasure in the trauma? What is the pleasure in the pain? And how can we take a step back from this illusion of suffering and see like what it get? And it's fucking hard sometimes. Shit. But there is, and that alchemization is our responsibility. And these things, it's this pendulum. Your heart didn't break, it broke open wider. This shadows, this darkness only makes you lighter. And yeah, I think just remembering that through the journey.
And that in itself is worth celebrating.
Shoot.
Chrystee, how can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram as Chrystee, Chryst, 5 E's, Chrystee. Also on Spotify as Chrystee, Chryst, 2 E's this time, normal, just Chrystee. And Apple Music, so like music streaming platforms. And then also on YouTube, I have like vocal activation workshops, or I have like one vocal activation and a few just like heartfelt harmonies. So it's just kind of like improv things, just to show you that like it's not, the whole thing is not perfect. It's a whole journey, and hopefully inspire others to just like go into making sounds. And I have some yoga classes there. And then I also host private retreats. So yeah, you can reach out on Instagram, and if you feel like you want to come to the lands of Guatemala, I'm calling you, come through, and just diving into that. We spend time like just diving into that deep love and sense of freedom, and how it really is a choice.
And that will all be in the show notes. Chrystee, thank you. Thank you so, so much. I have so much love for you and admiration and respect. And I'm so excited to re-listen to this every episode I re-listen to quite a few times, for work and for pleasure. So this is when I'm gonna be, I already know I'm gonna cry because there's so many moments. Thank you for your beautiful heart. Thank you so much.
Like truly such an honor and pleasure to be invited, to have the space to experience your existence. Truly, thank you. Yeah, I see you, and we are definitely souls of a similar family. So I look forward to continuing to know you. And again, like truly so honored to be here today. And you ask amazing questions. This is such a beautiful conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for listening to this episode. I feel like it's always such a feat to make it all the way to the end, where my voice pops back in and says, all right, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Whether this is your first time listening or you're a returning listener, just a reminder, if you enjoyed this episode, The best way you can show your support to help this podcast grow is leaving your rating and review, subscribing, and sharing with a friend. All right, that's it for me for this week. I will be feeling your energy next time I'm behind this mic.